Hey, welcome to another episode of PlayCall. I have Spoonie on the line. Spoonie, we've been talking all morning about this Bill Belichick situation.
Mhm.
Obviously, you guys know he hasn't been inducted or been given first ballot. And
Right.
on this show, we're going to talk about what next. So,
Mhm.
Tim, what do you think is next for the Hall right now? What do they do?
Um, mm, it's a toughie. This is where now that there's been too many. It's been too many issues of what's a Hall of Fame, and what's a Hall of Famer. And the thing is, I've always felt like it should be for what you have done on the field.
Right.
The big things on the accomplishments, the just the history of the NFL and what part of the history you was. Like, what did you do? What did you bring to the table and stuff like that? The changes and when your career is over with, yeah, your career is over with. You wait for somebody to say, "Hey, you're a Hall of Fame," and we've seen Terrell Owens not get in first ballot. Um, We've seen how the impact that was because Terrell Owens ended his career with some great wide receiver numbers, and I'm talking about over the best of the best who were in the Hall of Fame. And he had to wait a year because of how people felt about him personally. Um, it's nothing proven, but it just that's the assumption because um, people look back at his career. It never was an issue off the field as far as getting in trouble, but the relationship between him and the media when it came down to certain things. And I don't even remember any time he was ever disrespectful to the
No.
media like that. But he has made disrespectful comments. Not disrespectful, but like after the situation, but I don't see anything to hold them back. But they did, and and there's been others, but it's been more of a debatable thing. Oh, there's only one more year, next Y and Z. But here comes Bill Belichick, and everybody knows when we talking about championships, we're talking about the standards and X, Y, and Z. Bill Belichick is the name, and he's not in the hall, and now it raises the eyebrows of what can you basically first of all what has he not accomplished and not get in, or is it something else? And now that people are coming out voicing their opinions, and we're talking about Hall of Famers themselves, we're talking about Hall of Fame Jimmy Johnson. Dallas Cowboys Jimmy Johnson came out and said he was going to the Hall of Fame this year to visit, but now he canceled his flight because of Belichick. You got Lawrence Taylor, in my opinion, the best NFL player of all time. LT, who became a Hall of Fame player under Bill Belichick. And he spoke about Belichick, the things he has done at his time playing for coaching the New York Giants as a coordinator. So the thing is, you got everybody coming out speaking, and the voters, who made the call. Now this thing's coming out as far as um, anybody who's basically not voting the correct way or just using personal against them, you know, you will be removed and stuff like that. So to answer your question, I think they're gonna look within. There will be a review of who voted for him, who didn't vote for him, and give the reason why. But it's been said now that ever since the Terrell Owens situation with the Hall of Fame, that this it's been. And I don't know how true it is, but it's been said that they can view your off the field history and use that against you if they feel you're not a Hall of Fame. So when it comes to those things like that, it's pretty much okay if you know you have the numbers, the achievements. to be a first ballot and you're not in, well, we got to cancel that. Then we got to come out and say, well, it's not the achievement, it's not the numbers, it's whatever you did away from football that this is the reason why you're not in it. So you know, the Pro Football Hall of Fame, the people who are in charge, the committee, I see where there's going to be changes where it's been too much of this going on, and things got to change. That's what I
Right.
you know.
Um, I mean, I'll agree. Like they'll make some rule changes, so that something like this never happens again. They'll try to get a few people out there to explain why Bill Belichick may have not been on their ballot, but at the end of the day, what's done is done.
Uh huh.
There is going to be some make goods out there.
Uh huh.
Maybe the NFL is going to honor Bill Belichick somehow. I don't know. They might try to do something before someone else does, as I was saying before. There's an outrage so big that something like what Terrell Owens did during his
Right.
situation might happen, where he held his own ceremony. And
Uh huh.
I think that's the last thing that the NFL wants, is that somebody takes up the onus to honor Bill Belichick in honor of what happened to him now. So I feel like the hall is on defense. They're
Yeah.
gonna they're gonna they're gonna start having more of like an open door policy, figuring out who or how they can change their own rules, put it out there to the public so the public feels like something is being done, because now they have to win back trust. And they might, I think they might make a rule change immediately and try to put Belichick in as the sixth person, because I what I believe is that they can let in five a year. I think
Yeah,
is it?
yeah. It's so confusing. Like
Yeah.
sometimes it's five players and one coach or two coaches. For me personally, I don't like it like that
Hmm.
because I always feel that a player who has left the game on top 5 years later, he's not being looked at as a player on top. He's being looked at as a player
From the
who's in the middle of the
past.
pack
Yeah.
with numbers, right? And that's why it should be either you're gonna less the years instead of 5 years, make it maybe 2 years, three the most, or just put a bigger number. Make instead of five, make it 8 to 10. And that's the thing. But from the Hall of Fame right now is being criticized for not letting the right people in, and sometimes letting people in who shouldn't be let in at their time versus other guys.
Right.
So
Right.
we've heard things like Deion Sanders come out and say that if that player is getting a Hall of Fame jacket, then you got to give me a different one because he wasn't on my level. And I agree. There's always every year, every summer, there's always a debate within fans about who should be in and who shouldn't be. I say this: Eli Manning, I think, should be in the Hall of Fame. He's not in the Hall of Fame, and the reason why is because he checked all the boxes to me of what a Hall of Fame quarterback is. He ended his career top 10 in passing yardage all time. That's not something that's not easy to do, right? And then we're talking about championships. I mean, hey, if we seen his championship run, it was it was the example of what we want all quarterbacks to do when the playbook is out the window. Be that hero, and he answered the bell not once but twice. He did it, and in clutch situations.
Right.
And and on top of that, playing for New York, which is a New York market is hard to win, and he did it even when he was threatened to lose his job, and he responded. And you know, so to me, and one of the things, and on top of that, if we're calling, I never liked the saying this quarterback beat that quarterback, right?
Right.
But because it doesn't make any sense because quarterbacks don't play defense, we don't play offense. But we could say this quarterback outplayed that quarterback on the field, And when you did it to the, as some would say, the best QB of all time in
Yeah.
Tom Brady, that's just speaking volumes. That is the only Eli's the only quarterback to ever do that. So to me, the way the Hall of Fame right now, I think this is. I'm not saying as if somebody's telling me this or this is my personal thought. I think the Hall of Fame committee um just basically lost the heavy interest from the fans and everybody else moving forward because by you doing this to Bill Belichick, and let's be honest, we're talking about before he even retired, before he left the NFL. Everybody was always saying future Hall of Fame coach Bill Belichick. Now, will he be in the Hall of Fame?
Yeah,
Of
he's gonna
course,
make it. Like,
he's gonna make it. He's gonna make it, but not making it first ballot, it just raised a lot of eyebrows. And I know some people are saying Spygate, and I'll say this just for us, for me and you, as we spoke about this. I'll say if this was Spygate, well, just remember Bill Belichick wasn't the only one on the team those
right,
years of Spygate. Tom Brady was on that team, and
Randy Moss.
let's be honest, he's part owner of the Raiders. He's commentator. Mike Rabro, the Patriots head coach right now, he's going to the Super Bowl. He was a player at the time, and he's coaching right now. Randy Moss, one of my favorite receivers of all time, he made the Hall of Fame first ballot. He's currently employed doing NFL stuff. So the thing is this, can it be Spygate? Of course. Do I think it's Spygate? No, I don't think it's Spygate. I think it's just something between the media and Bill Belichick, and it's definitely a big indicator that if it's like Terrell Owens. Matter of fact, Terrell Owens had an interview, and he said that he spoke with Belichick. He reached out to Belichick, and he said Belichick didn't give him a lot to say, but he gave him a lot of info. But he did say, "Thank you for your support, and I really appreciate it." Because at the end of the day, he should have been in. And if you make it personal, like T.O. came out and said, if you make it personal with the media, they will not vote you in because it's personal. And he said that he's a player. He's a former player. He's around the situation. The NFL streets talk, and this is where it's at. It's a personal thing, and if this is a personal thing moving forward, then the people are not going to really invest in it because the Hall of Fame should be about what you accomplished, not because I like you or I didn't like you that you get in or you don't get in. And
Right.
this is where I think the Hall of Fame now is watered down, where who cares? Nobody cares no more, and that's it. That's where it's gonna hit, and I don't know what it would do. Because again, the Hall of Fame game is traditional around the preseason where so every team plays a preseason game, which is 3 games. The Hall of Fame game is just the fourth game, so they'll have an AFC team and one NFC team play, and that's the same week where the you can get a package deal. You go to the Hall of Fame, you go to the ceremony, then the Hall of Fame game, and my thing is now I wonder if people are going to invest their money now moving forward attending this type of event, knowingly that it's kind of tainted the way it seems now.
Well,
So
we have a couple of comments, and we have Edward that's saying Belichick, Brady, and Gronk will go in together. In Brady's first year of eligibility, which is kind of something that I mentioned to you before over the
mm,
phone when they're probably just going to put them all together. And they might as well throw Eli in there if they can, if they could fit that in as like a
right,
wrench at that situation. Um and speaking of Eli, we have Edward again saying Eli was never a top 5 QB when he played, which is something I wanted to insert, but maybe
Mm.
we talk about it another time. But
Okay.
I feel like the fans are the ones with the power here, but it's a double-edged sword because I just generally feel like Eli is not in the Hall of Fame because the fans were so brutal to him no matter what he
Yeah.
did. And so
Yeah.
and it's both sides. It's like, do you pick whatever the fans want or do you pick who you think belongs? Right? Everybody has a bias, but damn, you know?
yeah. See, here's the thing about it. Is again, I'm a Cowboys fan, so but I'm not biased. I'm not. I speak the truth. When the truth, and I've said it for years. I said it for years. It's here's the thing. You could. I'm not saying all fans. Some fans just follow the hype. Some
Mm.
fans don't have the mindset of their own to know who's good and who's not. And see, I love the fans who think outside the box when it comes to certain players not getting some recognition. Now, the thing is this: Eli was never the popular at all. He was always being made fun of in New York and X, Y, and Z. He's not a popular guy, but he got the job done. And the thing is that when you're doing it against the best player on the field, the biggest moment, the biggest spotlight in the game where all eyes are on you, and you ice cold vein and you go up in there and do your job. And we're talking about this not in the championship. We're talking about the whole playoff run. We can't. I'm not trying to make it an Eli thing, but but when you go when you're being told that if you don't do well, you out of New York. Your first home game, your first away game, you're playing at Arizona. You beat them. You go to Dallas, who my team was the best record that year. You beat Dallas in Dallas. Then you go to Green Bay in the frozen tundra and you win there. Then you go to the Super Bowl, clutch, game over, you win the game. Then everybody go, oh, it was a fluke. It can never happen again.
Right.
He's not elite. Okay, well, let's do it again.
Let's do it
Then
again.
Eli, you at Atlanta against Matty Ice at the time, against the Falcons. You on the road, you win that game. No, sorry, matter of fact, Giants were home that game. Then after that, you played the 49ers, who, again, top defense at the time. Let's not forget, one of the best defense. Go to their house, you win that game. Then after that, you play Green Bay in the NFC Championship game. Aaron Rodgers blew their heads off. And none of those games, you don't see. In none of those games, you don't see anything where Eli was being carried or it was his stats were like 75 yards and they just ran the ball. No, everything was from him. From him. So those are the things I look at to say, hey, this is his playoff career is tops.
Yeah, but
It,
the
it,
fans still had something
yeah,
to nitpick about, and now he's
yeah,
not in there. So
yeah. That's the thing.
you know, so one more comment, and we'll then do
Mm.
another show tomorrow, strictly on Eli, because I guess we need more time on Eli. But another
Right.
comment is like Eli never played Brady. QBs aren't on the field at the same time. He missed the playoffs way too
Ah,
much. Was he ever
that, that,
all pro? Had a good career, just not Hall of Fame. Let's save that for tomorrow. Let's go back and tomorrow we'll be back at like noon to do another play call. And Tim, just because it's now controversial, we're gonna go Eli.
I still want to say one more thing.
Okay.
That's why I said in the beginning. That's why I said in the beginning. Even though QBs don't play QBs, that gentleman was right. But I did say outplay. You could outplay somebody on the field on the same field as you. But the verses, yeah, quarterbacks don't play defense. I
Right.
do agree with that. But like I said, going with the Hall of Fame thing is a wait and see what's going to happen. In my personal opinion, I think they're going to try to make changes. I don't think they're going to change their minds on Belichick. It will be just a fresh year, which is next year. Um, and we just go from there. But at the end of the day, I think it's watered down now.
Mhm.
Moving forward.
Well, we'll see what happens in the coming days. I smell a make good. I smell a rule change. I smell
Mhm.
a plot twist, a spin. Maybe they'll put him as the sixth one, or you see ESPN make a move, or any one of these bigger brands to say they can do the honor while they have the momentum of the fans still angry. But yeah, first it was Luca, now it's Belichick. There's not enough Kleenex tissues in the world for all these people. So let's
You
continue.
know what I wish? You
What?
know what I wish? I wish the fans had a Hall of Fame committee, our own committee where we give up, we do our own separate awards and own separate. You know what? I guarantee you, it'd be more better. I
Yeah,
guarantee you,
look out
it'll
for
be much
that.
better.
You know what? Forget ESPN. 2MW Sports. Like and subscribe. We're gonna hold our own Hall of Fame next
There
year.
you
We're gonna
go.
make sure the right people get in.
There you
With
go.
that this said, I'm Trisha and this is Tim and this is Play Call. We'll see you tomorrow at noon. Peace.